Warm welcome while we wait for more and more participants to join us. And I must congratulate the entire ASDC team, Nikun sir, Arindam, Raman sir, Tanya, Dharmendra, the entire team of ASDC and the SpeakIn team for having pulled out such a massive success. We are not just, and Nikun sir, you were talking about this being fully booked. This is overbooked. We have received over 80 registrations after closing it. So where you can go in and express interest. So people keep that. My phone is ringing nonstop. So congratulations to the entire team for thinking and building such a use case, which is so relevant today for the entire automotive retail industry. My name is Deepshikha and I represent SpeakIn. A very warm welcome everyone to the SpeakIn ASDC Digital Sales Masterclass inauguration. We have here with us Mr. Niko Sanghi, who is the chairman of ASDC and envisioned the entire program. We're also joined as our chief guest, Mr. Manishkumar, who's the managing director and chief executive officer of the National Skill Development Council. Thank you so much for being with us today, Manishji. Arindam, of course, leads the entire ASDC fraternity as the CEO. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here. May I please welcome now the man who envisioned the day today. Mr. Sanghi, over to you for the inauguration, please.
Thank you, Deepshikha. So are we having that virtual lamp lighting? I saw it on the agenda. So do we do it after I have spoken?
Right now. Or? We can do it right now.
Okay. Thank you so much. So let me first welcome Mr. Manishkumar for accepting our invitation and being here with us to inaugurate our fourth digital program that ASDC has launched in the last 3 months. And his presence here is definitely a lot of encouragement to not only the ASDC team, but to all the people who are joining in the program and who are taking this program. And I'm sure under his guidance and leadership, ASDC will be able to do very many more such programs, very many more such initiatives, because it looks like digital is the future. And I think just the response to this program proves that the subject that we chose for this program is extremely relevant for us. I think in the purchase journey of a customer, Google has identified 28 steps that a customer goes through before he finally purchases a vehicle. And it is now documented that almost 25 to 26 of them have become digital, and only the last 3 or 4 continue to be physical programs. So we thought that it was extremely relevant that not just digital marketing managers at dealerships, but the entire sales force at dealerships need to be extremely efficient, extremely knowledgeable about using digital tools so that they are able to answer customer queries, they are able to see that their dealerships are the ones which really figure in searches when a customer is looking for vehicles. And it's only because they are digitally efficient will they be able to capture sales. We have already realized that dealerships which are not digitally active and where teams are not efficient in answering to digital queries of customers, they lose out on retail. So we put this program through, and we definitely chose SpeakIn, one of the best in the field, to put this program together, to get some of the best industry experts in the subjects to guide us, to take our digital teams the way forward on how they should plan their digital marketing, what all tools they need to be enabled with, and how do they ensure that their dealerships become the most efficient people, the most efficient dealerships in town. So it's great. I think we have 500 registrations. We closed registrations today morning. And Deepshikha tells me that there is a waiting list of 100 people who wanted to register and could not. So gives us a learning that we need to prepare bigger platforms in future when we take these courses forward, and we intend doing these programs like this forward. With this, I welcome Manishji once again, and I would request him to give his vision about the future of training, the future of skilling, the future of how the sector skill councils and specifically the Automotive Skill Development Council, what is his expectation and what is his guidance to us for the way forward. Over to you, Manish.
Thank you, Nikunji. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I first must congratulate you for taking this initiative, a fantastic one, and pulling in SpeakIn is a really great idea also. And I really appreciate that, the best of teams have got together to deliver something which will be of high quality. And usually that's exactly what I've found of Automotive Sector Skill Council for last 2-3 years that I've been associated with ASDC and Automotive Sector Skill Council. Now, few things which has really, I think, differentiated Automotive Sector Skill Council from others under your leadership, Arindam, both you and Nikunji, is always forward-looking and always forward-thinking. And I found that also in respect to the way you do assessments, it's mostly gone online, and there's so much of transparency that makes a huge difference, because eventually you're creating market signals, and market signals are credible when you are completely open and transparent about what you're doing. So fantastic job. And I think it's along that whole series of things that you're doing, in the same manner, I think this is another quality initiative which you have taken. I could have never said no to you. So the moment I got an invitation, I said yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So that's one part of it. And second, I think just for all the participants and also for us to understand the bigger picture within which these trainings and what we are doing today and the current situation, all of them become very relevant. It's important to understand that Automotive Sector Skill Council, or for that matter, automotive industry, in a way contributes quite hugely to our GDP. It's almost like 7 to 8%. And in the manufacturing sector, it's almost half of it which comes from you. And a huge number of people, almost 80 lakhs who get employed through you. And there are changes which is occurring globally. Something we started in 1990s and is now, in some sense, still in its infancy, but is beginning to hit us in a way which, we are beginning to realize the power of it in a very, I think, in a very tangible way. So this kind of technological changes are called life-transforming technological changes. So, and this was essentially the internet coming into the lives of human beings. So come 1990s, and if you look at 80s, you never had anything called internet. 1990s, middle of it, was when India began to have internet. And the world began to change gradually, so did India. The good thing is, we as a country actually picked up internet pretty fast. And by 2000, when we were dealing with 2YK problem, as many of you will remember, India was seen as, as a manpower source for solving this global problem. Because people often thought that maybe a lot of equipments which are electronic might actually stop because of 2YK. And if it didn't stop, probably it was because of India's ability to understand and solve the world's problems. So I think very quickly by the next century, the turn of the century, you'll find that more and more internet has begun to come and influence the way we think. I think the interesting point that we have reached now with COVID situation, everything locked down, and suddenly you realize that, okay, the only way you can connect with each other and still carry a conversation which is meaningful, which shares human experience, is through internet. And so therefore the power of it is suddenly very evident to all of us. I think even the most skeptic among us, who always thought that, oh, this looks like a little, something which is meant for teenagers, are probably now fully aware of how to operate a Zoom, how to get into MS Teams, and all the things which probably they would have avoided. I think they had no choice but to learn it. So there is a great acceptance of this change. Now, this change is very powerful in the sense that if you look at the way the world is organized today, it is organized as per Industry 2.0. And I always give an example of how you manufacture cars in Industry 2.0. You have a factory line. And then you have the basic structure of a car that you put on the factory line, and then as you gradually move along the factory line, you add various things to it, and at the end of that factory line, you have produced a car. So that's the way you manufacture a car in the normal circumstances we have observed. Now, from that industry 2.0, we have actually moved to industry 4.0, which is very different. And I think the industry 4.0 is all about the IT, the IoT, the Internet of Things, the fact that we are getting into 3D printings. So those are all at its infancy, to be frank. If it was born in the mid 1990s, we are hardly 20, 25 years into it. And therefore, we are still evolving. But this particular moment has accelerated human thought and its understanding of how is industry 4.0 going to be much more important and useful for us in future. So it's not that we'll not meet physically again. I don't think so. That's what will happen. COVID-19 is going to go, and then we all would be physically meeting, and we'll have meetings as normally we did. But I think our understanding of how you could use digital power in various things would really change by the end of it all. And I think our appreciation for it and our ability to deal with it will also change significantly. Some of the things which is emerging, interestingly, is on the field of education, where initially, if you look at Industry 2.0, just as the factory line, we had a factory line of class 1 to class 2 to class 3, and you go up to class 10, 12, and then you get into jobs. And it was perfectly okay that you have done BTech from IIT and you got a job. So that's the way people generally thought about life. With Industry 4.0, that's going to change. That's going to change. What's going to happen is, because the technological changes are happening very rapidly, and as I said, we are in the infancy of Industry 4.0, and therefore the rate of change will be extremely high at this stage, for at least next 25, 30, 40, 50 years. There'll be rapid changes. So therefore, if you look at the industry, they will keep on asking you to upgrade your skills on a continuous basis, because they don't want somebody who has studied something in BTech in 1990s to be leading their organization or leading their sales support in 2020s. They need somebody who understands that how has the world changed, and are you able to cope with that particular world. So I think the knowledge in today's world is getting modular. And often people criticize, what is a 3 months training? What is this 3 months skilling that NSDC does? And it suddenly dawns, I've also reflected very deeply on this. And when I talk to people, it often dawns on them that we are actually not addressing the human capability problem. That's the job of education. What we are addressing is the industry problem. That industry needs people who are current. They want to know what was the knowledge which was generated last year, and whether the person who is coming in has that or it doesn't have it, he or she doesn't have it. So I think that's a problem which we are solving. Bite-sized learning and small-size learning and lifelong learning is going to be the future of how we train people. And therefore, in that direction, what you are doing is exactly how the world is changing. So therefore, my interest, very deep interest in this kind of trainings, because they are going to signify how future is going to be. They're going to signify how industry is going to respond to these kind of inputs, which enhances a person's ability to solve the immediate problem, because they know that 3 years down the line, the immediate problem will probably be something different, and therefore will require a different way of looking at it. So I think 2 things becomes important. One is a very dynamic organization like your Automotive Sector Skill Council, which is constantly upgrading itself, understanding its environment, reshaping, retooling all its course content, and ensuring that it is connected to the world that it serves at the back end. And the other end, you have people who need to be curious about this changing world, who need to be continuously imbibing learning, and upgrading themselves so that they remain relevant to the market. So these were a few thoughts which I wanted to share. I believe what you're doing is very futuristic, and I really would wish many other Sector Skill Council learn from you and repeat this. So thank you so much for inviting me, and it's a great pleasure to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manish. Niko, do you want to say something?
Well, I think what Mr. Manish said was extremely relevant. And I think if we have to adopt Industry 4.0, then what we need to do is how do we use our existing manpower, and our existing manpower will need to be reskilled, upskilled, so that they don't become redundant and they continue to be associated with the industry, and the experience that they have gained in this industry, that experience remains within the industry. And I think it is upon councils like us, it is upon manufacturers, is upon dealer owners to ensure that their manpower gets all opportunities for reskilling and upskilling themselves to this new world order. We are actually entered into an absolutely new world order, which we saw coming, but which got accelerated because of the COVID situation. So thank you, Mr. Manish, once again for giving us an insight on what the future holds for all of us.
Perfect. Thank you so much. बहुत धन्यवाद मनीष जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका भी. Arindam, अब if I can invite you up, please give us a small vote of thanks. और हमारे जो आज के बड़े स्पीकर हैं जिन्होंने ऑफिशियली हमारा जो कंटेंट है एक्सपर्ट ने लॉन्च करना है, अमन जी, उनको भी आप प्लीज वेलकम कीजिए. So Arindam, over to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manish ji. Lovely hearing you.
Thank you, Manish ji. Thank you, Nikun ji. And thanks, Deepshika. This was the day I think we were kind of waiting for in terms of looking at how do we digitally enable learning of digital skills. So a big thanks to the entire team at SpeakIn and ASDC, who at the background has been able to put this together. And a big thank you to you, Nikunji, for conceptualizing this and guiding us to build something together like this, which will be very useful for the entire dealership network in the automotive space. And special thanks to you, Manishji, for being there and supporting our experiments and innovations all the way. And it would not have been possible without an active support from the entire members of the industry, the entire dealership fraternity, and a lot of OEMs who've kind of helped us reach out to the set of people to whom this will probably be very useful. We've been very happy to kind of make it a very affordable proposition for the large number of participants to come in. And we hope to innovate and be flexible in the way that we are looking at. I think all the speakers who come after me here today onwards is that they are experts in their domain. And some of you have already expressed interest that the language also has to be mixed, both Hindi and English. दोनों का कोशिश हम जरूर करेंगे, बट आपको थोड़ा सा ये समझना पड़ेगा कि ये ऑल ओवर इंडिया पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं और कुछ प्रदेश हमारा है जहाँ पे हिंदी इतना पॉपुलर नहीं है, बट कुछ और जगह है जहाँ पे हमारे हिंदी जो भाषा है दैट इज द प्रेडोमिनेंट भाषा. तो all of this is an important part of the whole learning process, flexibility. I think what Manishji was talking about in terms of our automotive industry being very standard and education system being very standardized, I think on top of the standardization, we need to build in flexibility now. And that is what probably Industry 4.0 and Education 4.0 will teach us. And I think we are making a great beginning today. I wish all of you who've joined us in this program to have great learnings out of this. And this is just the beginning. Over a period of time, I think we will all be accustomed to learning in this fashion. Thank you. Over to you, Deepshika, and maybe Amit can continue after that.
Great. I will just take a moment and introduce. So Arindam left that introduction to me, and I would do that. And thank you very much, Arindam, for setting the stage for the first speaker of the Digital Sales Masterclass. आप सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. A very warm welcome कि आप सब एक साथ आए, हम लोग ये एक नया opportunity है सीखने का. This is a new opportunity to learn, to understand, and to build a new experience. So while I introduce, just give me a moment.